Hello! Mickey Mouse? What are you doing here? He's chewing the podcast.
Yeah.
Just like we're chewing some scenery.
Chewing some museum scenery. Am I right? Don't answer that. Let's do the pod.
I don't even know what that means. Hello, everybody, and welcome back to Fifth Period, the film podcast hosted by two media teachers, where today, with a little help from the tablet of Akhman-Ra, things are going to come alive. So throw the bone, lock up the lions, and double check your belt, because the monkey has probably stolen your keys. My name is Mr.
No, it's Mr. Boylan. It is Mr. Boylan.
Not Mr. Sprinkler?
Oh, yeah.
Do you want to clarify Sprinkler?
No. No, I don't. I'm just going to leave that in there as a little bit of a reference. And if anyone feels like putting that in a TikTok edit, they're welcome to.
Oh, Jack.
Shout out to Jack for making a very fun video edit of me.
It was fun. I really enjoyed it. And Jack had never met you when he made this video edit. So we definitely need to sing his praises.
Yeah, even if he did brutally age me, I was like, aging 10 years up, I was like, you're supposed to go younger. And he's like, I did. I'm like, oh my goodness.
Oh,
yeah.
He
big zinger.
Good.
Big zinger.
But you've got a new fan, and that's lovely.
It's great.
In addition to our main discussion of Night at the Museum today, we will also be doing Tantalising Trailers and Best and Blurst Ben Stiller films for our additional Segamonte.
Yeah!
So if you want to skip ahead to any of those, I will leave time codes in the description below.
Hi, my name is Edward, and today we're talking about the Night at the Museum.
Thank you heaps to Edward for his intro to the pod today. His very quick intro to the pod today. It was a pleasure to meet him at Film Club last week. I was very pleased to hear his favourite genres are horror and thriller, just like yours truly. So
and mine truly.
There you go.
Me truly.
And me truly. And me too truly. So it was very nice to meet Edward, but I don't teach him. You teach Edward?
I do. No, Edward's been a really passionate member of the media class in our first term. He's been super engaged with everything that we were doing. Had a really good narrative across his storyboard. I don't know why I said storyboard like that, but that's okay.
Yeah, it sounded like you were trying to emphasize the board aspect.
No, I was very entertained by his work. It made sense that he was coming to Film Club, Mr. Brown, because I don't think I've seen a year 8 student more engaged watching Back to the Future for their analysis task. It looked like he was in the DeLorean at one stage, just riding every bump and turn. So clearly someone who was very passionate about media and film. So it was really good to have him along at Film Club and to do the intro.
Nice. Thanks heaps, Edward. Alrighty, let us jump in. So, the opening credits for Night at the Museum. They're pretty rad.
Oh, yeah.
They introduce you to this world of majesty by kind of starting with shots of the city, but then they actually move into the museum and we get to see the landmarks to the exhibitions and, yeah, just that really enchanting music as the credits come up.
Alan Silvestri's score is really good here. It's really, really good. He's obviously a huge composer, someone who's been across many a film. I think probably a few we've done actually on the podcast before.
I believe so, yeah.
So did Back to the Future, he did Polar Express, he did Forrest Gump, Who Framed Roger Rabbit, another Fifth Period special, including Beowulf, which we haven't done on the podcast.
And won't.
And probably won't. Oh, he did live action Pinocchio, Mr. Brown. Gross.
Not Pinocchio.
Not Pinocchio. I quite often bemoan the lack of good family movies that are released these days, particularly like a family adventure film. Silvestri's score sets the tone for what's to come.
I also really like that the credits themselves kind of move with the exhibits. They almost look like plaques on the exhibits. That's a really nice touch.
Agreed.
So we meet Ben Stiller's character, Larry.
Larry Daly.
He's tried to fool the meter maids by putting a brown paper bag over the top.
Classic.
Yeah, it didn't work though. They've just written, nice try. So good way to kind of establish right off the bat he's a bit down in his luck.
Yep.
He's probably a bit short of money at the moment.
Bit of cashola, yes.
Yes. It's that classic deadbeat dad that we love talking about on the podcast.
So many deadbeat dads. There's so many.
Just
It's
a
like
staple of the films that we're watching.
we should. That's what we should have done as our best and blessed. Five best and
deadbeat dads.
or 5 favorite deadbeat dads covered on
Rick
the 5th period
Moranis from Honey, I Shrunk the
from
Kids.
so many movies.
So the reason he's a bit of a deadbeat dad, his son's ashamed of his career, so he hasn't invited him to...
Or lack thereof.
Yeah, well, that's it. It was career day, and he wasn't invited. But he seems so offended by that. What would he have talked about?
The snapper.
The snapper.
He would have called him the snapper.
I do like that his relationship with his wife seems pretty civil.
Yeah.
It's quite good. I like that in these family films, they talk about how divorced family can still function quite well. I think it's a really good lesson for kids too, because obviously this is a part of some people's lives.
100%.
So it's nice to kind of see that representation on screen for kids' benefits.
Agreed.
And you do see it a lot. Like, even if you look at films like Liar Liar, yes, he makes snappy comments and stuff, but they actually do have a pretty good relationship. Most of the things that he needs to repair in these kinds of films with the deadbeat dad, not surprising with a name like a deadbeat dad,
Exactly.
the relationship with their child and making sure they get back on their feet so that their kid feels like they have a comfortable life that they can be a part of.
Yeah, it makes sense to set up sort of the base of the film. And a good comparison to Liar Liar is that both of these films have pretty funny stepdads.
Oh,
And now, because who do we meet? It's Paul Rudd, everybody.
Chili.
Willie the Penguin just fills up the silence, talking like small talk about the weather. Is like, no, I can make the small talk even more entertaining.
It's such a classic Paul Rudd move. Listening to like Paul Rudd outtakes and stuff from I Love You Man with him just riffing. Yeah, I'll snake up some brews. Give me one of them ice cold cruisers.
Snake up some beers. I'll snake a beer. I'll snake a brewskin. I'll snake a brewman. Yeah, I'll snake a cold cruiser.
Nice.
I'll snake one of those ice cold cruisers.
You got it, Jobin.
You too, Jobus.
Got it, my gooch.
Later on, could you... So long, my nin. Same old shut different jar.
Classic. What does that even mean? I don't know.
It doesn't mean anything. He's just really, really good. He's doing that over-the-top friendly dad. Again, like Liar
Carry-ons,
Liar. The claw. Oh, it's going to get you.
Yeah.
It's going to get you.
He probably had a claw in his utility belt.
Oh my God, he's got like 8 phones on there. His walk, just like the flamboyant walk through the house. I'll go tell the little corn cob you're here.
So good. And as Ben Stiller describes him, he's like the Batman of stockbrokers. And he's like, no, he's a bond trader. Oh, of course. How can I forget? But basically, Larry starts to talk about, it's like, hey, what about Queens? And he's like, oh, you got evicted again. He's like, no, not really. But he's about to get evicted.
He is.
And thankfully, we get some nice little time with him and the little corn cob. He's going to play a hockey game. But you can see that Larry's very protective of his son, kind of face plants, and Larry immediately jumps onto the ice in a bit of an unprofessional move.
More unprofessional when he tells him how he can take out another player.
No, not take him out. Score a goal easily around him and
weak
take
skater.
advantage of his weaknesses.
Yeah, much better.
Much better.
Well, then taking him out, yes, it probably is.
Yeah, I mean, well, the karma gets him eventually because it's like, game on, and gets smacked in the face
With
by a
the
hockey
puck.
puck. Pretty good.
Very good. We get a couple of classic Ben Stiller comedy moves, a bit of physical comedy in
Yes.
this one, but also just him being really sarcastic, one of his absolute strengths.
It fits perfectly.
So Nicky wants to get into stockbrokering.
Yeah, he's going to have a fallback option at the age of 8.
He's a very impressionable kid. Clearly his dad's instability in work has really rubbed off on him.
Yes, a bit sick of his dad changing jobs and changing apartments all the time. He just wants to feel settled.
Tells him he's got to step up, so it's off to the unemployment office. I've never seen a resume quite like yours. All right. That wasn't a compliment.
It wasn't a compliment.
Was asking. Yes, we do have Roz talking to him about his
It
invention,
feels like Roz.
the snapper. But unfortunately, he was pipped at the post by the clapper.
Bastards.
Apparently, clapping is easier. Debatable. I do think it is debatable.
Yeah, we were trying to work out like the snaps and the claps.
I think it's a harder skill to learn, but then once you have it, it only takes one hand. So,
That's the thing. Like
Less energy.
Look at the time it takes me for my other hand to join the other hand.
oh my God, I'm
This
exhausted.
hand is your hand.
But he tries to flirt with Debbie.
Felt like we had a connection. I didn't feel a connect. I didn't feel a connection.
So no dice, I'm afraid. But she does suggest the museum gig for him.
Everyone else they've sent over hasn't worked out. They've sent him back, but who knows, he might be different. We get our first look at the inside of the Museum of Natural History.
Beautiful.
It is. It can confirm
So
in person.
magical.
Really good too. Really good. I love that place.
In addition to getting a bit of a
A
tour,
look into how much I love New York City.
Yeah. We also meet Rebecca and Ricky Gervais,
Yes, Carla Gugino.
who genuinely sounds like he's riffing this entire film.
It's so good.
The choice to make it so that he can't finish
Finish
any
anything.
sentence is brilliant. I adore that.
This was my first introduction to Ricky Gervais.
Yeah, look, it probably would have been for me too.
As a young person, I hadn't watched any of, the original Office or extras
It's not
or
really
anything
aimed
like that.
at young people.
Not
so-
really. And this film would have, came out when I was a wee taco.
But I would say that his character and the style of comedy that he's delivering works for an older audience.
Oh, 100%. I much appreciate that character a lot more now.
Oh, yeah. We also meet Cecil, Reginald, and Gus,
Yes.
who are being fired to be replaced with one brand spanking new guard to save a little bit of money because the museum is losing
Yes,
money
it's-
and customers.
Yeah, you can tell that there's not too many people around, and the ones that are around are getting told off by Dr. McPhee. Nothing moves around. It's boring, Mr. Brown.
So boring.
It's educational. Ugh.
I'll tell you who
gross.
is moving around, though. Cecil, Reginald, and Gus. They got so much energy. I don't think they need to be replaced by a new night
And
guard.
I don't even think they need the tablet at night time. But a little bit of foreshadowing.
We'll get there.
But yeah, it's pretty cool, seeing Bill Cobbs, who's most known for being in The Hitter.
I know him from That Thing You Do. He's Del Paxton.
Oh, of course. I know the movie you're talking about. Then you've got Mickey Rooney playing Gus, who we'll get to in a second because he's hilarious, and Dick Van Dyke, who obviously just genuine heavyweights of the comedy genre.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah, seeing Dick Van Dyke, it's probably the first time I've seen him in anything that wasn't Mary Poppins, probably. Yeah, probably. For me, anyway.
Okay, fair enough.
He's having a great time here. He's having a really, really good time. But he's not having as much fun as Mickey Rooney. Holy moly.
Or you listening to Mickey Rooney deliver his lines.
This is true. I was cracking up at a lot of this sort of stuff. Looks like a weirdie. Just all the stuff that he calls Larry sounds like Anthony Kiedis singing "By the Way" when he's like snack check doodle-a-doo-da-doo-da-doo. That's basically what it turns into. Hopscotch doodle-a-doo-da-doo. You need to cut that together. That's what you need to cut together. That's
Oh my goodness, you're always making more work for me, mate.
that's what I do.
Snack Shack. Hopscotch. Cupcake.
But yeah, Mickey Rooney's just so good. He's
is.
so short too.
He is really short. We get a bit of a sinister line here too from Cecil.
Yeah, as
they
Larry
ask,
leaves.
"Do you really think he's the one?" He's like, "Oh yes,
yes.
he's the one." And I was talking to you about the fact that even if you know what's happening in this film, that kind of gets multiple reveals. First, it's like, "Oh, this seems quite sinister." And then when you find out the museum comes alive, you're like, oh, maybe they're just alluding to the fact that it needs to be a special person that can take care of the museum.
But
and
maybe
then
not.
later, you're like, oh, no, they really are going to screw him over.
Yes, they're villainous characters. Basically, they prep Larry to start as the new night guard, and he
Do a
takes it on.
Bit of a tour.
Bit of a tour. Goes
How
through all
does
these
Cecil get ahead of him?
those
He loses him
orthopedics.
from one
It's the orthopedics.
one room to the next. A little bit of good foreshadowing here when he does sneak up on Larry. The exhibitions are going to come alive and do similar sort of
Exactly.
tricks on him. Seriously, no fooling around in here. Just drops the robes on the ground.
Moving on.
Yeah, so the Tablet of Achman Ra. Very cool. It is indeed, Larry.
Very cool. Dick
with-
Van Dyke, you're scaring us.
Cecil, you're scaring me.
We're all going to be overusing that in the next few weeks.
Oh, yeah. But with one more word of advice.
Yeah.
Don't let anything in or out.
Huh? Bye.
Yeah. He leaves.
The best part is when Cecil's talking about going through the rules, and Gus is like, you gotta go through them. 1, 2, 3, and then Larry's like, 4. You cracking wise, Snack Shack. It's so good. As anyone does working at a museum on a night shift, what's the first thing that you would do, Mr. Brown?
Oh, man. I'd start talking and singing on the PA system.
Oh,
No?
Nah, that's what I do as well. I'm only joking. I was doing a funny. I was being a weirdy. But yeah, that's the first thing Larry does is just kick back and start, hello, hello, hello. He's just having a great time.
He's having a great time. Right up until he falls asleep.
Well, Film Club was having a good time too. They thought that scene was hilarious.
Yeah, they did actually. Good response for that one.
Love that. Big shout out to Ben Stiller. And he's just going for a bit of a walk around, see what's going on. And then he realizes something's missing.
Yeah.
It's his keys. No, not yet.
Bloody Rexy.
Bloody Rexy. Where's he gone? He thinks the old guys have done a David Copperfield.
He does. He goes, very funny, Cecil. What does he think they've done?
He's made the Tyrannosaurus Rex disappear.
He's just drinking from the old water fountain.
This shot's so good.
It is good.
It's really cool, like going through the bones.
It's not very practical. His bones. What's he drinking? It's like Slimer eating food in Ghostbusters. Just falls straight to the ground.
It's the intent, though. He's trying to be hydrated.
He does.
He's trying to be a good little Rexy. He's going to be a good little Rexy. But Larry's flashlight hits the deck, and that alerts Rexy to his presence and gives chase. And then Larry tries to...
The effects look incredible.
It still looks good.
Yeah.
For a film that's, 18 years old now? Nice. Very good. Ben Good. It's Ben Good.
It's been good, and it still looks great.
Yeah.
Got them both in
Got
there.
them both. I love it when he's trying to get out of the museum and he's trying to get through the door. He's like, revolve! Revolve!
Yeah, see,
and he doesn't.
He's freaking out. You can't blame him.
Yeah. And so
T-Rex is chasing him. So he gives Cecil a call, who's having just a wild time at his retirement party.
Tequila!
Tells him to read the instructions and then goes off with a much younger lady.
Dick Van Dyke, no! What a conga line. But basically works out as like, okay, going through the instructions, throw the bone. What? And then Rexy must have heard him because he drops the bone at his feet. And then all Rexy really wants to do is play fetch.
He's like a puppy. It's
He
very
is a puppy.
cute.
It is a very cute little skeletal dinosaur.
Yeah, and the music change here is great too, with him being playful and
Yeah.
wagging his tail. It's really nice. But then
Everything's alive.
Oh, it's just chaos.
Birds and
Chaos.
everything
We got
flying through.
Mammoths, cavemen, the Easter Island statue. Dum dum.
You give me gum
Gum
gum.
gum.
Oh no, dum dum! You better run from Attila the Hun. Here comes Attila and his Huns screaming down the hallway, make their way into the elevator. Larry
Love
gets
the
into
elevator
it.
music.
It's very, very good. He escapes there, but his next instruction is he's got to lock up the lions or they'll eat you.
Oh, before that though, he meets Sacagawea,
Oh yes,
who he struggles to pronounce the whole movie. Even
Yeah.
after he finds out how to pronounce it.
is after speaking to an expert.
But she can't hear him because she's behind the glass, and then a
Glass.
bloody civil war breaks out.
I know.
I think that's a really cool idea to have like the stockings over the face to look
And then like when they get shot, it's just like a bit of fabric coming out and stuff.
it works very, very well.
It's very cool.
But then he goes
Yes,
in to
you
lock
like
up all the
bugs.
animals, and
He meets
Dexter
little Dexter,
steals his keys.
little capuchin monkey.
He just should have read those damn instructions.
Just-
One,
just read.
2,
3. Are you cracking wise, Mr. Brown? Righto, Snack Shack. Let's keep going.
But no, him interacting with Dexter it's so Ben Stiller, like the little voice that he puts on while it's like how he talks to Jinx in Meet the Parents. Or little Jinxie.
Or Little Jinxie, or like Baby Jack in like Meet the Fockers.
Yes, or even in Friends when he's talking to like the chick and the duck. Oh, little chick, we're doing it on my hand.
It's just his sweet spot is that voice, clearly.
That's it.
But yeah, meets Dexter, gets the keys sort of snatched off him, and he gives chase. And then during this, he goes into the...
Rips up the instructions as
Yes,
well.
exactly right. He's in All Sorts, and he's about to be in smaller All Sorts because he's going to go through the whole of miniatures.
So many famous people. Owen Wilson is Jedediah. And then down the line, we also meet Steve Coogan. But we get a bit of like a Gulliver's Travel nod here where he gets tied down. I love the little train hitting him.
Yeah.
The build up to it, the tension, and then just falls over.
Owen Wilson's just, you need to pay.
Pay for what? I don't know. Just pay.
And then full speed, ram him, put him in the head. Dink. Ow.
but then like the slow motion breaking out of it as well.
They're all
It's very
screaming
good.
like it's a kaiju basically erupting from the depths of hell. It's fantastic.
It's good fun.
And then he turns around after dealing with the cowboys and finds the legions of the Roman army led by General Octavius. And it's just this maelstrom of tiny little flaming arrows and catapults. And Larry's like, ow.
It's really good. Like, I love the jokes they make about like their size as well. Like, don't talk down to me. Our hearts are large, metaphorically speaking.
But
Then, comedy royalty.
Robin Williams.
We get Robin Williams as Teddy Roosevelt.
He's the best.
It's amazing. And it's quite a restrained character for him. Like, when you think about the chaos that's going on in this film,
He is like
he's the most
He's the
down to
adult in the
earth.
room.
Yeah. So he explains kind of how it all works
So good.
and agrees to like help him out, but he says he's not going to make a habit of it because he wants him to learn. He
He's
wants Larry
empowering
to find his own way.
He's so good. Just like the voice that he's putting on. Like, Robin Williams is the best. We miss him very, very dearly. I appreciate the good little Aladdin reference as well. Robin Williams is like, yes, you may ask a question. It's like, oh, what is it? A 3 wishes kind of deal. Which is good.
Nice.
Good little sharp one, which I had never seen before. I was like, yeah, I love that. It's Teddy Roosevelt. He doesn't have 3 wishes. He's got 1 wish, and that's to talk to Sacagawea, who...
yeah.
But he gives obviously the big speech talking about, some men are born great and others have greatness thrust upon them, which is a quote that I used in actually one of my Year 7 English essays, directly quoting Night at the Museum and not William Shakespeare from Twelfth Night, or quoting Channing Tatum.
I was going to
from She's
say,
the Man.
yeah. It's a little more organic in this than it is in She's the Man.
Yes.
Yeah. And it's not the full quote. There was no some achieve greatness. Nah. Teddy
No.
Roosevelt. He
He's-
likes to
he's
get to the
efficient.
point. He likes to get to the point.
He's efficient.
But he also explains how it is the tablet of Akhmun-Ra that has brought everything to life.
It's
And
very
that
cool.
anything is on the outside of the museum by sunrise, it turns to dust.
To dust.
Dust.
Yeah, and then that's basically end of night 1.
Night 1.
Considers leaving, but
Yeah, he tells Teddy he's going to, and even though Teddy has tried to be persuasive with the Shakespeare quote,
good little fake out as well with Robin Williams. Like when he starts to get closer, it's like, oh, is he turned back?
screaming at him.
Yeah, and he's like, ah! So good. Bully. Well, he talks to the old night guards. He's like, oh, yeah, like, would have been nice to know about the museum coming to life, you crazy person.
Keep a lid on it, butterscotch.
Yeah, exactly. It's like butterscotch, hopscotch, snack shack, short stuff.
Why are you rattling off all my nicknames?
all of yours? I do remember I called you hopscotch.
But even though he wasn't swayed by the old guys or Teddy Roosevelt,
But who's
when
got more power than all of those people combined?
His
Paul
son.
Rudd.
No. His
It's Paul Rudd
son.
arriving with Nikki.
Nicky's really excited to see his new job.
Yeah, he wants to sort of check it out. And I was like, you gotta go to school, man.
Yeah, so true. What time in the
Paul
morning
Rudd,
is this?
like, what are you doing? It's 4 a.m.
How crappy is this job too, by the way? He starts at 5 p.m. and then like goes to like 9 a.m. when they open.
Yep.
Man, that is a long shift.
It's a night shift.
Yeah.
He's a night guard.
He is.
He's the night guard.
Who knew? Anyway,
Oh.
so he comes back in and then we get another great scene with Ricky Gervais.
So great.
The-
He laughs like Mario from Super Mario Brothers.
laugh at me.
Wow! Let's all laugh at me, the comedy night guard.
with the humour box.
Humor box. Sarcasm, back at you.
Pretending to laugh, if that's what you want, some sort of battle of humour, do you?
I don't want a battle of humor.
No, you don't, because it'd be a bloodbath. It's not funny, okay? And I will not stand for this type of blatant...
If I'm not clear, tell me. And Ben Still was like, oh, you're really
I'll
not
leave it.
clear.
I'll
You're
leave
not
it.
clear at all.
So good.
It's so good. If I'm not clear, tell me. I was like, yeah, you're not.
You're
like,
not.
at
It's
all.
really
you can't finish
obvious.
a sentence. Ricky Gervais. Oh, damn.
So,
decides to do, he basically says, yep, no worries, I'll do it. But he tries to learn more about the
Does.
exhibit. So it's a good way for him to have a chat with old, what's her name, Rebecca?
Rebecca, yeah.
Carla Gugino, Spy Kid's mum, and finds out a little bit more about Dexter. Mm-hmm. You can tell he's got a bit of a personal grudge against little Dex.
Yeah, because she describes the monkey as like kind-hearted.
And he's like,
I was just laughing in agreement.
yeah. And then finds out more about Sacagawea. It's like, was she deaf?
No, she's behind some thick glass, man.
Thick glass, thicker than you, which is saying something. You idiot.
So because he's interrupting the tour, he realizes it might be a little bit better if he abstains from the tour and instead buys her a cup of coffee.
Larry's daily, am I right?
Nice.
Yeah. So, but he starts to do a little bit more. He finds out like a little bit more in the cup of coffee, and then talk about it.
She's been writing a paper on
dissertation over 4 years.
4 years.
4 years. What are you writing?
Look, this is why it bothered me later on when she's just going to give up on it after 4 years. And her reasoning behind giving up on it later is she's like, I'm never going to really know them. How often are people writing dissertations
about people they know?
Yeah. Ridiculous.
Writing one about my dad. There you go.
But anyway, he's like, 4 years? That would drive me crazy. Yeah, but
you
Larry,
haven't done anything for 4 years. You haven't done anything for 4 weeks, you idiot. But yeah, starts with a bit more reading, finds out a little bit more about Attila and his love of magic.
When does he sleep?
He doesn't. He doesn't. This is why I think this is all a fever dream. He's just died and delirious. A nice little hint to the stagecoaches that will come back very late in the film.
Oh, yeah.
Just a little sort of quick little look. But yeah, Larry's ready to go. He's going to give Knight to a bit of a tackle.
The old guys are clocking out for the last time.
They are, but they...
Or so they say.
Yes. Reginald does one thing, and that's to get a copy of Larry's key.
He should have checked his belt. The old guy stole your keys.
And he gets a copy of the plastic one. All of them.
Oh, dear.
And then we get a nice little needle drop with Weapon of Choice. Fat Boy Slim. Unfortunately, there's no Christopher Walken exhibit.
No, but I kind of wish that Ben Stiller was dancing around. Like, this location is not that dissimilar from the film.
So true.
We get a montage, so he's got the remote control car with the bone.
Yeah, Phyrexia, yep.
He gives the big gumball to the Easter Island statue.
He gives the caveman fire.
Yeah, lighter. And then he closes the Mayan exhibition in like a glove to block it.
With like a shoebox attached to the glove.
Why not just lock that up before sunset?
It's a good point.
Anyway, he agrees to let the miniatures out, not the Mayans, but the other miniatures. He doesn't give the Mayans the option.
No, it's like, none of you are played by famous comedy actors, so I don't need to interact with you.
So true. A bit of fun dialogue here when they're saying, like, about the name calling.
Yeah. 2 students from the group, we're having a restorative conversation now. It's really good.
That is pretty much it, yeah.
Yeah, I really love their dynamic. Come on, guys, you really love each other. That's the vibe.
They do.
Yeah.
And we get that by the end of the film.
Particularly with some references to specific films.
He swaps the plastic keys out for Dexter and then mocks him.
Got him!
Whoa! And then we see Teddy checking out Sacagawea. Not subtly.
No, Teddy Roosevelt, am I right?
He's a peeping Tom. He's a peeping Ted.
We have fun.
But we also see that some stolen stuff gets put in a desk drawer. We can't quite make sense of it yet, but we later on find out that it's being put in Ben Stiller's home drawer.
Which is not clear.
No, not really at all. That's why they say it later.
Yeah, I'm like, when's this coming back? But he suggests that old Teddy Riz go have a chat to Sacagawea and leaves. He's like, he just can't speak. But it's a shame because Sacagawea is clearly interested in old Teddy as well. Mm-hmm. So we'll have to come back to these two star-crossed lovers. But we're going to check back in with Attila the Hun. He's back.
He goes and introduces himself and decides to do some magic for him.
Saw.
It seems like it's all going well.
Magico!
Your Attila voice is getting better and better by the day.
Voila! So it's basically rip him apart. Because Larry is not that good because he's literally 24 hours into learning close-up magic.
And he has spent most of the time actually researching all the other people.
Exactly. He's like, cool. Anyway.
This is the instigating incident that basically kicks off all hell breaking loose for night 2.
Yes.
All the things that he's done start to come undone. The animals escape because Dexter has stolen the keys off him again. The Easter Island statue has blown a bubble too big and it's a big old mess.
Yep, and then Dex also opens a window. Mm-hmm. Cowboys and Romans are fighting. They have not been able to get along while being let out.
The cavemen light themselves on fire.
They do, and there's a fire extinguisher. They're covered in foam. They're having a great time.
They are.
But yeah, then a caveman sees a couple of people outside warming their hands on a fiery bin. He goes out to go check, and Larry gets into a slap fight with Dexter.
End of the line, Cool Breeze.
It's so ridiculous.
Good Lord, man,
Lawrence,
why are you
you're
slapping a monkey?
It's one of the best lines in the whole movie. Robin's delivery there is just perfect. It's like,
Teddy, this guy's been pushing me and pushing me, and I'm sick of it.
Are you rabid?
Oh, he's got the foam around the mouth.
So good. The worst fear is realised, and Larry sees that the caveman is out, and he sees him turn to dust.
Heartbreaking this. Like, Larry sprints to the front door to try and save him, and then the guy effectively dies.
Yeah, damn.
Well, look, there's a whole issue of ethics in terms of life versus non-life in this.
Don't look at it too much.
Well, I mean, if you wanted to create life, you could just keep bringing things into that museum.
You could. And I was like, oh, that caveman's gone. Anyway,
just build a new one.
Exactly.
But this is the event that makes him realize, all right, maybe I should keep trying. I have an important purpose here. I need to stick it out.
Particularly highlighted by the fact that who's going to come visit him that morning? It's Nicky and his school friend.
Bloody son again. Go to school, Nicky.
School. I know you can learn stuff at museums and they're very educational, but where else is educational? School. It's crazy.
Got him. But Ricky Gervais fires him in front of Nicky for all like the fire extinguisher foam that's around the caveman exhibition.
I mean, fair. But yeah, he sort of pleads his case. It's like, oh, fool me once, shame on me. Fool me twice, shame on me. It's, yeah. Again, just like leaving these things like unfinished. Just finish a thought. For the love of God. Nicky's upset that he's fired again. He's like, no, that hasn't happened. And he's trying to explain. It's like, you know what? Just come along to work.
Tell you what. Don't go to school. Come along to work with me instead.
Exactly. Be at the museum.
Don't go to night school.
Yeah, he's going to say. Yeah, because for his fallback options, he's already going to night school.
Oh, dear. But when they get to the museum, Rebecca's there as well. He does a little bit of flirting with her, and then he spoils it by kicking her out.
He's like, no, really, I have to ask you to leave. Yeah, he talks to Carla about how the exhibits come to life, and she's like, okay, cool, make fun of the history geek. And then it's like, I've heard some whoppers in my time. That's what I thought about. It's just insulting her for her passions. It's like, Mary Steenburgen, is that you? Oh, good.
That is quite good. She doesn't believe him, obviously.
Fair.
Why would she?
The museum isn't coming to life tonight. Here's Rexy.
Come on. Get on, Texas.
Get on, Texas. Get on, Texas. It's like, stop slapping that poor horse statue wax figure
When
thing.
he wakes up, he's going to be sore.
But it turns out the tablet isn't there. It's been stolen and it's been intercepted by the old crew. So we find...
Well, because he goes to take Nick down to it. He's talking about the tablet and Nick goes, oh, now there's a tablet? Is that really the most unbelievable thing? He's just told you all the exhibits come to life. Now there's a tablet?
This is like... Larry, tablets haven't been invented yet. I can't waste my time on a touchscreen device yet. It's 2007.
Oh, dear.
But yeah, they intercept Gus, Reginald, and Cecil.
Just clearing everything out.
They're taking everything in the old supermarket trolleys.
The old tablet's been kind of turned around, so that's why everything isn't coming alive.
The middle one has it's kind of been flipped, and they basically reveal the fact that, they were trying to set Larry up.
Yeah, well, fair enough, because they got fired unjustly.
You can understand their begrudgingness attitude at the moment. So,
but it's also that they want the tablet because it makes them feel alive at night as well.
Does that make sense?
I'm fine with it.
Doesn't make anyone else feel alive.
It's fun watching the old guys do some action.
Watching Dick Van Dyke do like a spinning heel kick.
What do you mean it doesn't make anyone else feel alive? They've been doing it for years and years.
It's not like Larry gets super strength and feels younger.
Maybe by the third film. I don't know. I haven't watched the third one yet.
That's fair. It does have some good moments, particularly with the cameo with Hugh Jackman. That's all I'll say.
Okay. So Nicky turns the tablet and the museum comes to life again, but so do the old guys.
Yes, they do.
Woo!
They wail on him. But Nicky runs away.
Not for long, though. They still lock up Larry and Nicky in like 2 seconds.
Yeah, in the old Pharaoh's tomb. And then you get Teddy arriving. The tablet...
He has an existential crisis about being a mannequin.
Yeah.
Brilliant.
It was like Robin Williams. Mwah, chef's kiss. Teddy Roosevelt did all those things. I was made in Poughkeepsie.
I do like the line, though, when he's like, I'm made of wax. What are you made of, Larry?
It's like, damn,
Teddy.
Robin Williams. You got me. It's time to let Ahkman Ra out of his tomb. And guess who it is? It's Freddie Mercury.
Hunky Rami Malek.
Rami Malek.
He's not decomposed at all.
No, he's fine. It looks like he's decomposed. They've got like a bit of like a horror sort of moment with like the gauze bandages and everything. I think that's pretty fun. And then the payoff for it is like, oh, it's so stuffy in there. It's great.
So he breaks him out of there, and They team up, and Larry quickly deals with the Huns by yelling some gibberish at him. All I could think of was John Travolta going, "Awa babaluba, awa bamboo."
Yeah, Dylan just screaming at him, and it's like, I've got one thing to say about this.
He just pops into screen and does it.
Why are you in a leather jacket, Ben Stiller? That's not your night guard uniform, you idiot.
But no, this little counseling session is so good.
I love it.
They ripped the love right out of you, didn't they?
And he's like, and then he's singing like a lullaby, and then the way he points over the shoulder and looks at the other one, you're next. And then he's like, I need a bit of counselling too.
So gives the inspirational speech and finally knows Columbus's name.
Finally,
Gets everybody to
Nikki
team
tells
up.
him.
Oh, I love when he addresses the Civil War dudes.
Yeah.
Civil War dudes, you guys are brothers. North wins. Slavery's bad. Sorry. And the reluctant nod from the guy.
Ben Stiller just ended slavery.
Oh my God. Amazing.
Well, Harry Daly.
Slavery's bad.
They finally get Octavius and Jed to team up, and oh my God, this scene is so good. Some of the best parts of these movies are them doing things in like big environments because they're small. Hey, their van's out the back, so we're gonna like pop the tires and stuff. Save yourself! I won't quit you, because is that from Brokeback Mountain? It's so good.
Brokeback Mountain is, I wish I could quit you.
It's just really, really good. Like, smash cut back to just like a long shot of the truck doing nothing and silence.
It's really good. They make pretty good time in terms of capturing everyone. Like the Civil War dudes get Gus, Columbus and the caveman get Reginald, and then it's pretty much just down to old Cecil, who makes a break for it in the truck.
He does. And then
They have to get Sacagawea to track him. He went east, then he lost control and he crashed.
And he came back.
How can you tell?
Points.
Just your face when you did that. That's amazing.
Insert frame there. That's fine. Or don't. That's okay. But he's like, but he went back. And
Why would he go back?
For the stagecoach.
Bloody horse.
Bloody horses. But Sacagawea is about to get run over, but who's going to save her? But Teddy Roosevelt. He's finally there to the rescue, saves him, and is cut in half. That's okay. He's waxed. They can fix that.
Yeah, it's not really an issue at all. Larry goes after him.
Octavius and Jed are dragging the bone in the RC car with Nikki and Aquaman Ra riding Rexy. I don't know why they all need them there, but I guess it becomes a thing.
Well, not really. Like
Just so
the
they can play
others are all
chicken.
there, but Larry's on a horse. So.
Larry's on Tex, not just any horse.
Tex. Get on Tex.
He's like, I am now, jeez. But yeah, he drives into the stagecoach, and then the little RC car flips over like the embankment and then just poof.
Explodes. It's very sad.
And yeah, it looks like he's dead. Anyway, I'm going to keep riding the horse. But basically, he's trying to pull over Cecil and say, hey, last chance. What are they called, like money travelers or something like that? Money carriers. So they won't stop for anything except a secret word. It's like, what do you mean? Like, Dakota? And then they stop. And Cecil goes crashing off. And then he gives him the big old burn of, don't ever talk to me like that in front of my son. Oh!
And then, despite the fact that they weren't there for any of the chase, the Huns are just there now.
Of course they are.
Yeah.
They capture him, and then they're like, Mickey Kaka? The Maki Kaka. It's like, what does he mean?
Yeah, what do you think he means? You idiot.
Teddy Riz is at work here.
Wow.
Let's just tell the story.
I think he's telling Sacagawea a story with an inappropriate impression here with the clicking.
With the pygmy? I mean, that feels like incredibly classic Robin Williams. Doing that. Like,
as in, he's just making it all up?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And doing a voice. Making it up, doing a voice. Robin Williams, ladies and gentlemen. But speaking of comedy royalty that we continue to get, Charlie Murphy, who's driving the cab.
Oh, that's right, yeah.
I'm like, I forgot Charlie Murphy was in this movie. Has to basically stop and let some traffic go by. Aquaman Ra's turned the tablet and he's done a bit of a hoodoo voodoo and has made the everyone go back.
And Rebecca sees the animal and she realizes Larry wasn't making fun of her after all. This reminded me of when I was younger. I was looking for something at a shopping center and I went into a store and I was like, do you have this technical thing?
Do you have this copy of Night at the Museum?
And they were like, no, why don't you go to Geek Central? Now, this was before...
Oh my God.
Yeah. So I was so offended. I was a little kid.
And you were offended because you spent the rest of the day looking for a shop called Geek Central.
No, just you wait.
Oh, no.
There is a shop called Geek Central.
Oh, yeah.
And this person was not making fun of me, but I didn't find out until months later. I thought that would be horrible. And there's no way they didn't know that that's how I interpreted it too, because the look of pain on my face, you would have been able to pinpoint the moment where my heart ripped in two.
Good reference.
And I was like, well, that's embarrassing. Anyway, so I was exactly like Rebecca in this scenario.
Oh my goodness.
I'd heard some
What an
whoppers
anecdote.
in my day.
Heard some whoppers in my day.
Anyway.
But everyone's sort of coming back, including the moose, who Larry has to redirect to the loading dock. But tell you who else is back, and they've survived. The boys are back. Octavius and Jed is walking up like triumphant heroes. Look!
Would have taken them forever to get back
That's a
there.
hike and a half.
Absolutely.
But they're back. They do their respective salutes. And obviously, considering what's happened, the fact the exhibits have been roaming the streets of New York.
There's lots of
It's
news
hitting
stories
news,
about it. And as a result of that, Ricky Gervais is going to fire him because
Fair.
I don't know what he's been doing, but somehow all the exhibits were out.
And you made them come alive.
Of course you did. But what it actually does is prompt people to go to the museum. They think it's
a
some
great
sort of a
promo.
stunt.
Yeah.
And so as a result of that, Ricky Gervais reluctantly lets him stay on and keep his
Just gives
job.
him a good nod of appreciation. That's it. And then
His son invites him to career day.
why are there 2 career days?
I was thinking the exact same thing. How frequently is this school having
Hey guys,
career
every
day?
3 weeks we're gonna get your parents to we're gonna get your deadbeat dads to talk about their jobs. Obviously, one of the most popular months for career days is September.
So they sing September
By
at a
Earth,
party
Wind,
at
and Fire.
the museum.
Yeah, that's pretty fun.
Beautiful. It is a bit of fun.
And that's the end of the movie.
It is the end of the movie.
It's yeah. How did you go sort of checking back in with this film?
Yeah, I had a bit of fun with it. I put the start of the second one on. I didn't yuck, and then turn it off. But I think I was tired and went to bed. The formula probably wears thin by the second one. Obviously, it's got some great new characters. Just Hank Azaria doing that great accent.
Bill Hader as General Custer is hilarious. Amy Adams is genuinely brilliant in that film.
So there's some really nice new
Jonah
characters,
Hill.
but the idea in general does get a bit tired. So I am shocked that there's a third one. I've never seen the third one.
and a 4th animated film too.
Oh, is there?
Yeah.
Jeez, there you go. But I really enjoyed coming back to the original. Lots of characters I'd kind of forgotten about. I completely blocked out the Ricky Gervais character, and he was a delight to have there. But yeah, no, it was good fun. I think this is a solid kids film.
I really like good family films that have got access points for younger and older people, which I can definitely see sort of across this film in a lot of ways. There's a lot of sharp dialogue that I definitely didn't get when I was a kid. It's probably a little bit less of that in the second one, but I'd be very comfortable doing the second one for Film Club.
Oh, I'm not against
The
it.
third one, probably less so. This film definitely has a special place in my heart, and it's one that I always like to sort of just go back when I want to watch something a bit light and fun. This is what I put on.
Yeah, nice. So a big thank you to Ignatius for a really fun suggestion.
Yeah.
So thanks, mate. You've had a couple of winners this year. Alrighty, should we move on to Tantalising Trailers?
Yes.
Tantalizing films. Trailers. Don't know if we will be a fan. How will it be? We'll know in time.
I've got 5 trailers on the docket. How many do you have?
7.
Oh my goodness.
We're probably going to have some crossover.
Yeah. All right. Well, do you want to kick these off?
Yes, so one of the ones, and again, because we know one thing that I like to talk about / rant about is live-action Disney remakes. And
Lilo and Stitch?
yeah, I'm skeptical, but kind of a little bit on board, but kind of, I don't know. I don't know how to feel about this.
I'm shocked. Based on how much you flew off the handle about this a couple weeks back, I'm very surprised that you're even giving it a chance.
I mean, I'm giving it some chance.
Yeah, I think it looks fine.
Just because of how much I love Lilo and Stitch.
Yeah, that's fair. It's a bit of fun. I don't think this looks like it's going to add anything new, which does render it a little
That
pointless.
sounds like a Disney remake. It's pointless and doesn't add anything new.
See, now you're going.
Now I'm back. I'm
You're
back.
back.
I'm here. How you going, guys?
I've hit reset. Now you know how it'd be.
Yes, you do know how it be.
Yeah, look, it looks like a bit of fun. The cast looks okay. The effects look pretty good. I don't really have much to say about it. All the key moments from the animated film seem to make it into the trailer. So, great. I want to talk about Freakier Friday.
Yes, very apropos, given what musical we are doing and that you're directing as well. So
Yeah, so it's very, very relevant for us. I've been waiting for this trailer to drop. I knew it was coming out this year. We get Chad Michael Murray.
just right at the
He's
end
back.
there. Yep.
He's looking pretty good. It's about the same as he did in the first one.
Feels like it.
That being said, Jamie Lee Curtis and Lindsay Lohan also looking great. So one thing that I was a little, like I kind of knew that they were going to do this, but I was still a little bit disappointed that they're not swapping places. In the trailer, it seems like they might be swapping places with Lindsay Lohan's daughter and maybe Lindsay Lohan's daughter's friend.
Yep.
That makes sense. It's funnier to see adults acting like kids rather than it is to see one adult acting like another
Slightly
older
younger
adult.
Yeah.
Yeah, I get why they're doing it. In a lot of ways, I shouldn't really care because it's still Jamie Lee Curtis and Lindsay Lohan that are going to be doing the acting.
Correct. They'll be having the fun.
And I like the fact that they will probably be having that fun together in this one.
Yeah, not separately. Yeah.
But we're probably still going to see the kids at school too. So it does put a lot of pressure on these newcomers to see how well they're going to act as the adults.
True. It's going to be fun.
Yeah, it should be good. It just looks like silly fun. Get a bit of hot to go in the trailer.
HOTTOGO.
If that's not going to get you excited, I don't know what will.
Nah, love a bit of Chapel. Next trailer for me. It's another film that starts with F. It's F1. I'm not a huge F1 guy, but this film kind of looks, I don't know, I like the look of it, particularly because it is directed by Joseph Kosinski, who did Top Gun Maverick. We've got Brad Pitt, Damson Idris, who I haven't seen anything before, but there's rumors that he may be playing like an alternate T'Challa in the upcoming Marvel projects, which is obviously like big raps if they're going to get him involved in that. So I'm intrigued about that. But yeah, it kind of just looks like Brad Pitt's, I think maybe like come across from like another sport or another motorsport and is going into F1. And Damson Idris is kind of like the young teammate and they're going to be clashing a little bit and stuff. The car scenes themselves in the race looked fantastic. And that's probably why I was pretty intrigued on this film. You know, a film about Formula One racing doesn't grab me a lot. I did enjoy Rush, which has got Chris Hemsworth and Daniel Bruhl. So yeah, like I think this will be like a bit of fun and it definitely looks pretty nice too.
Yeah, nice. Speaking of Damson Idris, I'm going to talk Black Mirror Season 7.
Oh, so he's in that?
He is. I mean, it's an anthology series, so lots of people are in that.
True.
Yeah, it looks great. I think you had told me this before, but I was re-shocked to hear
gobsmacked
that you've only seen but one episode of Black Mirror.
Yes, so I've only seen USS Callister because I taught it for a previous media class, and I really enjoyed it.
It's one of the best. So.
Like Jesse Plemons and Kristen Milotti, like absolutely crush it in that. So I was really excited when I heard that they were going back to the USS Callister world. Mm-hmm. Yeah, and then watching the trailer, I was like, oh, just all of this looks really good. So I think I do need to start watching Black Mirror.
You absolutely do. And because it is an anthology series and you don't need to watch it in any particular order, I think some kind of inform others, but not really. You can get away with picking and choosing. So maybe I'll make you like a short list that'll get you like hooked. Then you can go back and smash them all out. Because they're not all winners.
Okay.
There are some in the bunch that are just a bit lackluster.
Okay.
But if you kind of watch them all in a row, I think that will allow you to be like, that one wasn't as good, but there's still a couple of good ones in the mix. So
nice.
The reason I'm kind of excited about this one is it looks like there's also going to be a sequel to Bandersnatch in addition to USS Callister, which I didn't know. Bandersnatch was the one that they released that was kind of like a choose your own adventure. I didn't necessarily like the choose your own adventure element. I get the novelty of it, but I think because I'm a bit of a completist, it was kind of like, I want to know what happens in each of the scenarios, but I don't want to rewatch this thing 100 times over to go down all the different paths. So that bothered me a little bit. But something else set in that world where they are finishing the story for you, I'd be very happy to.
Is that the one with Will Poulter?
It is the one with Will Poulter. The other thing that felt really interesting about this trailer that's quite different to Black Mirror trailers that we've seen previously is there's not a clear divide between what episodes are which. I think they usually make that a bit clearer. So maybe there's going to be more shared storylines or a uniform theme between them. Usually they tell you what the episode titles are in the trailer. I didn't see that in this trailer. So I'm really excited. I'm not sure how many episodes are in the season. I'm hoping it's a bigger season so that any of them that do fall flat get lost in a batch of goodness. But I'm just really excited. Like, Black Mirror, to me, has always been something that I get really geared up for, even if some of the seasons were more lackluster. I think overall, it's pretty great.
Awesome. My next one for Tantalising Trailers is one I just watched today. It's called The Ugly Stepsister.
Ah, I've got that in my watch later, but I haven't watched yet.
Yeah, it seems to be sort of like a horror comedy sort of vibe, bit of like a dark, almost Cinderella style story. And I just really like the look of it. The tone of it is something that I'm definitely here for. Dark fairy tales always interest me, and riffing on what's a very classic story looks really good. So I'm keen to watch the Ugly Stepsister.
Nice. Next for me, I want to briefly talk about psychotherapy.
That's my last one. Perfect.
Oh,
We've matched
there you
up
go.
so well today.
So psychotherapy is about a writer who is essentially writing a novel about serial killers. And Steve Buscemi basically comes out to him and says, "Oh, I'm a retired serial killer. I'll help inform you so that you can write your book." And then his partner catches Steve Buscemi in their apartment. He labels him as a consultant or a counselor. And
a
she
marriage counselor.
mistakes him for a marriage counselor. And then he starts counseling the couple. It's just a bizarre scenario, but it looks like it's got elements of comedy in it. It looks like it's got some really, really dark thriller elements to it as well. The idea that anyone at any time in this film could kill another person, which is really, really cool. It seems like there's a lot of sinister undertones for this one.
Yeah, it's a hard film to sort of pin down based on the trailer, and that excites me. And Steve Buscemi's always really good.
The last thing I'm going to mention very, very quickly, You Season 5 is coming out. I've been really into all of the seasons of You. I know it's got a bit of a mixed reception from people. Some people adore it. Some people really hate it. Obviously,
I've never seen it.
it's popular enough that it's gotten up to season 5. This is the final season. I did find the last season a little tired in terms of the concept. There's a lot of repetition. One thing I will say about this trailer is that it keeps making all these promises like, you'll never expect where it's going and stuff like that. And it's like, yeah.
Maybe I will.
I might. I hope I don't. I hope it does have a twist sort of finale to it. In these films where you are following characters that are inherently bad guys, it always does feel like, well, is it going to end with them getting caught? Is it going to end with them dying? Is it going to end with them getting away with it? It has to be one of them, right? Yeah, I guess I'm just kind of curious to see how they're going to wrap it up.
True.
Cool. Should we do some best and blursts?
Let's best it and let's blurst it.
These are the best and blurst of mine. Some of them suck, but some are fine. Can't all be winners all the time. We'll see which fall on each side of the line.
For today's Best and Blurst, we are looking at Ben Stiller films and basically looking at which ones we think are good and which ones we think not so much.
Good.
Just going to rattle off 2 honorable mentions from the top, and this is partly because I had a lot of trouble ranking some bests in the mix. Blurst, that was a little bit easier to pick my 4 that I was going to mention today, but there's a couple of films that I think are really good films that he features in, but he is not a main character in it, and that is Happy Gilmore and The Cable Guy. Minor role in both of those films, and I adore those films. I think they're a lot of fun, but I just didn't think he was prominent enough in his roles for them to make the list today.
Now you will go to sleep, or I will put you to sleep. Check out the name tag. You're in my world now, Grandma.
He does make some really cool sort of guest appearances in movies. Plays the person who works at the guitar shop in the Tenacious D movie, which is pretty good.
Realize it, but you just stumbled onto the darkest secret in the history of rock.
Kicking things off with my blurst, I'm going to go with Envy. It is
on my list too.
There you go. It's a Ben Stiller, Jack Black film, and it's just real lackluster.
It's so meh.
Yeah, it really is. So it's this idea of obsession and being envious of this person that had everything and kind of derailing their life, just someone you knew in high school. And it just doesn't really land. Like, it's not that funny. It's not that thrilling. as you say, it's just meh. So that was an easy one for me to put in my Blurst.
Yeah, it's just menvy. A very distinct memory where I got a video from the video store, which is where we used to rent movies, which means to borrow them. It's a foreign concept for a lot of people. That's fine.
Oh, dear.
But I remember renting this. I was like, oh, Ben Stiller, Jack Black. I'm going to have a good time, obviously. Not the case. It's just really, it's just like smack bang average and doesn't really move the needle very much. So yeah, that was in my Blurst too.
Nice. Do you want to mention a best then?
Yeah, I'll go. Let's talk about some good stuff. I think a lot of mine are going to be nothing too surprising in my best Ben Stiller performances.
I suspect we'll have some crossovers.
I suspect, but maybe not. But one of the ones I suspect will probably be in both of ours is Dodgeball.
Right you are.
And I think this is probably his best performance as an actor.
We are the Globo Gym Purple Cobras. And we will rock you.
He's like the perfect villain to go against Vince Vaughn. The whole movie is just so ridiculous.
It really is. I love the bull on the wall. That's me taking the bull by the horns. It's a metaphor. That really happened.
It's perfect. I also love that, like the lore that it's actually his character from Heavyweights. I've seen people like talk about that as a conspiracy theory, but yeah, I really, really love him as the leader of Globo Gym because he's better than us and we know it.
So true.
Yeah, it's just great.
Did you skip arts and crafts? Yes, I did. Cool. 2 for 2. We are on the same page. Next on my Blurst, the Heartbreak Kid.
Hey, it's on mine too!
Yay! He's
This is going to be a really quick episode.
Oh, man. I would describe this film as the ultimate cringe comedy.
Yeah.
And look, I find even good cringe comedies can be a tricky watch. I mean, that's where they get their name, right? Like some of the most awkward moments in the British version of The Office, or the original version of The Office, if you will, can be really, really hard to watch. But they're still funny.
And this isn't.
Not in this.
No, Ben and Stiller and Malin Ackerman aren't really having it.
Nah, nobody's...
Michelle Monaghan?
Yeah, nobody's likable in this.
No, all the characters are pretty like average and it's just a bit of an film, unfortunately.
Yeah, it really is.
I remember going to see it and having quite a fond memory sort of for seeing this, and at the time I thought it was pretty funny because I think it probably came out when I was like maybe 13
before
or 14.
You got tastes.
Yeah, before I got tastes. Before the taste buds had developed for a decent film. And it's a shame because it's one of the last memories I have in actually going to a really nice theatre in Sorrento at the Athenaeum. That's a beautiful old building. It was just, just a bit there.
It is a bit there. Oh my goodness, same page. What's one of your bests, Mr. Boylan?
I'm going to go with one that maybe we might still be on the same page about, and that's Tropic Thunder. No, they're not on the list. There you go.
No, it is.
Oh, it is.
It's just not on my best.
Oh, no!
Yeah.
There we go. Okay.
This was one I knew would be a big point of difference.
Okay, so I love Tropic Thunder.
Most people do. You're in the majority.
Yes. I think that some of Ben Stiller's best work is technically before the credits even roll, when he's playing like action hero character and is like, who left the fridge open?
I agree with you.
I think the movie's great before it starts.
Yeah, all those fake trailers at the beginning are the best part of the movie.
I would say they're the second best part of the movie.
Oh, gosh.
I would say Tom Cruise is the best part of this movie.
Okay, that's pretty good, yeah.
But yeah, I don't know. This film is like really chaotic. It's also a film that I feel if they just tried to make something similar now, it would not be as doable.
With all the controversial elements?
Yeah. But I think like Ben Stiller's good in this film. I think he's not the best part of this film, but I think at the sum of its past, I think this is like one of the best comedies that he's involved in. And obviously this was a film that he was really heavily involved in with behind the scenes as well. And it's kind of one of the things that like now Ben Stiller's known for is like a lot more of his work is actually happening behind the camera. You know, he's getting rave reviews for his work on Severance.
Yep.
I still haven't seen it yet and I really want to.
Opening shot of season 2 is rad.
Cool. But I really like Tropic Thunder. I think it's ridiculous. It's a movie I've seen definitely a few times. It puts together some really, really fantastic comedic actors in a really fantastical sort of plot. Danny McBride's also in this, and he's having a really good time blowing up stuff. That's great. Matthew McConaughey puts in some of his best work.
Yeah, Matthew McConaughey's great in it as well, yeah.
But yeah, I really enjoyed Tropic Thunder.
Totally fair, but I guess part of why it's in my Blurst is that I had high expectations after seeing the trailer, and a lot of the jokes don't land for me. That's not to say there aren't some great moments in it. Like, I agree with a lot of your picks for best characters and things throughout, but overall, it just falls pretty flat for me. Like, a lot of the jokes, especially like the Simple Jack stuff is...
Oh, it's gross.
Yeah.
It hasn't. It's aged like sour milk. It's really bad.
Yeah. And I don't find the Jack Black character likable at all.
Oh, no, he sucks.
Yeah. So it's just like, it's hard when you don't have characters you root for. Anyway, my next best, I'm going to go with Heavyweights. Since you already gave it a mention, you said you haven't seen this.
No, I haven't.
I adore this film. So the concept for Heavyweights is a bunch of kids whose parents send them away to a camp to lose weight. And it's a really fun camp. It's got rave reviews. Jerry Stiller runs the camp with his wife, who his wife might be the lady from the employment office in...
Oh, really?
So maybe that's just both Ben Stiller's parents?
I have to have a look.
Maybe. Who knows? But once they arrive there, they've had to sell the camp because they had like some bad investments and they got screwed over.
They've had to sell it to their son.
They sell it to Tony Perkins, played by Ben Stiller, the one that you were saying is like a younger version of
Dwight.
Of Dwight?
Of White Goodman. I
White
realized I
Goodman.
wasn't Dwight just during it.
That's fine. Yes, a younger version of White Goodman,
Yeah.
and he comes in and he basically wants to make like an infomercial where he makes all of these kids really, really skinny. And so he puts them through like this torturous kind of treatment. It stops being about having fun and being about their well-being, and he kind of like limits everything that they're doing there. And he's so good. He is so evil, but he's like trying to put on the happy face for the infomercial.
Attention campers, lunch has been cancelled today due to lack of hustle. Deal with it.
I think it's his best performance. It's incredible.
This is a Disney film, isn't it?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, like a 90s Disney live action film.
You'd be able to watch it on Disney Plus, I reckon.
Cool.
It's really fun, and all the child actors in it are really, really great. There'll be some familiar faces. There's like the goalie from the Mighty Ducks is in it. Kenan Thompson is in it.
Sean Weiss.
Just
Judd Apatow's in it. Paul Feig.
Paul Feig works as one of the counselors who, knowing Paul Feig, he's ridiculously skinny and lanky, but they all make fun of him because he used to be overweight, and now it's like he's in the minority.
That's good.
It's really fun. So yeah, it's a really, really great film. I heavily encourage you to watch Heavyweights.
Shall. Next up, a Blurst for me, which I suspect also may be on both of our lists. I'm going to save the worst till last, the Blurst till last, if you will. But this one's not far off it, and that's Little Fockers. A franchise that I enjoy the first two films immensely. One of those will be on my best list. But Little Fockers sucks. It's so bad. It's just a shame, because like I really love this franchise. Still seems a little bit tired in the film. Like he's not really, he's kind of like getting through it. I'd say the same with Bob De Niro. I'm intrigued about this franchise returning when Ben Stiller has adult children, so he's playing like the Robert De Niro role.
Oh, yeah.
I enjoy that concept a lot, but this is just not fun. It's just, no. They're still doing the same stuff, and it's just like, you keep having to prove yourself. It's just ridiculous. You got like Jessica Alba who's playing Andy Garcia, and it's like, that's funny because she's got the same name as Andy Garcia. That's the level of humor we're at.
Righto, yeah, I haven't seen it, so
Good.
maybe it would have made my list if I had, but I've only got one Blurst left, and I'm going to save that because I assume we have the same Blurst. But before I talk about that Blurst, I'm going to go another best, and I'm going to go with Zoolander in my best place.
Nice. That's your best Ben Stiller film?
Oh, no, just one of. I've still got one more best after this as well.
Good.
Until Dodgeball came out, Zoolander was probably one of my most watched comedy films. It's been surpassed by other things now. Like The Birdcage is one of my favorite comedy films, and that's like right up there amongst the best. But when I was younger, like my sister and I used to watch Zoolander like once a week. It was wild how much we loved this film. And so many of the jokes that would have gone over the top of our head, and yet we still loved it.
Oh, yeah.
But now, as an older audience, there's so much to appreciate from that perspective as well. I wanted to chuck this one in next, especially because what I'm going to be going to as my next Blurst is the sequel to this.
Yeah.
Is this your final Blurst?
Well, I had Zoolander in my best as well. There's just stuff in there that's just so good. The files are in the computer.
It's so simple. But it's so strange to think one of his best films and one of his worst films, his worst film, definitively, are from the same series. Yeah.
And this is one of the reasons, like, whenever someone's like, oh, they're making a sequel to this beloved comedy film from 20 years ago, I'm like, uh-oh.
No.
Don't. Yeah, because it doesn't work. It ends up like they're trying to retread a lot of old ground. And the narrative of this sucks.
It
like
really
the opening
does,
bit with
and
like Justin Bieber and stuff. I'm like, what am I watching?
there's no jokes. It's just uncomfortable.
Like the Benedict Cumberbatch stuff.
It's so bad.
Kristen Wiig, and it's just it doesn't work.
Yuck. But the first one, amazing.
Classic.
I love when he meets JB Pruitt, the hand model. Why male models? Are you serious? I literally just told you that. And I only found out recently, Ben Stiller forgot his line there, and so he repeated why male models. David Duchovny just improv'd that line, and it's my favorite line in the movie.
So good.
He's amazing. Anyway.
Some of David Bowie's best work as well.
Oh.
He's so good in it.
I can't turn left.
You should listen to your friend Billy Zane.
He's a cool dude. It's Walker.
So good.
It's that a male model's life is a precious, precious commodity. Just because we have chiseled abs and stunning features, it doesn't mean that we too can't not die in a freak gasoline fight accident.
So you've got one more best left?
I would have my honourable mention would be treading into the animated world of Madagascar 2.
Alrighty.
Which I think is better than the first one. I don't mind the third one, but Madagascar 2 is very, very good. And DreamWorks is sometimes like hit and miss, I think, with their animated films. But God, they hit it out of the park with like the cast that they assembled for Madagascar. It's incredible. You know, Ben Stiller, obviously, as Alex the Lion. Terrific. Chris Rock, David Schwimmer, and Jada Pinkett Smith, like, are really good. And then in the second one, you've got like Alec Baldwin and Sherry Shepherd, John DiMaggio, who's like a really good voice actor. It's just really good. And the animation looks a lot better. They're really good films, but they're not as good as my last film.
I hope it's the same one as my last one.
I don't think it will be.
Oh, no.
I almost guarantee it.
Okay, what's your last one? My
last one, and one of my best Ben Stiller roles and my favourites, is Meet the Fockers.
Right.
Yeah.
That's interesting.
So a lot of the time, sometimes we attach some nostalgia and memory to how we think about films.
Yep.
This is one of them. I still remember watching...
It will be for my last one too.
Like, I love Meet the Parents, don't get me wrong. There's a lot of, moments in that film that are just hilarious with like the ashes and
that's good cringe comedy.
That's incredible. Like the Puff the Magic Dragon stuff.
It's just the name of the boy's magical dragon.
What are you talking about, Greg? De Niro and Stiller's chemistry is just the best thing in the world. But I really love the addition of Dustin Hoffman and Barbra Streisand in the second one as his parents. They're just so good. But story time. Why I love this film so much is because I went and saw this. It's
always something really obscure, like, a man in the crowd said something to his daughter and then she left.
This is, but a good memory about watching Scream 6. But this is significantly more specific, and it's because I went to the movies with my entire family. My mum, both of my aunts.
Dustin Hoffman.
Both of my uncles, who are Dustin Hoffman. Both of my uncles are named Dustin and Hoffman. But the other two people who came to this to make sure it was a full family memory was my nan and pop. And there is so much in this film that is pretty cringeworthy, not okay to watch with your nan and pop.
And that made you enjoy it more?
Because it was so hilarious seeing them so uncomfortable. And I'm like, this is such it's genuinely like one of the best memories I've ever had at a cinema. Like, I don't go to the movies with big groups of people. That's like my worst nightmare, to be perfectly honest. But hearing like my mum snort cry laughing while looking at my nan and pop, my pop particularly with a very stern expression on his face, particularly when it gets to the point where Barbra Streisand is trying to rearrange Robert De Niro's back. Mom, you were writing him like Seabiscuit. It's just like a core memory I've got. And we've watched it at home a couple of times since then with my pop as well. Like,
why did he go back?
I don't know, but I've rewatched it with my nan as well, and like it wasn't like it was a couple of years before she passed, and it's like a really positive memory I have like of doing something with my family. So I'm really appreciative to Ben Stiller, Dustin Hoffman, Barbra Streisand, Owen Wilson, obviously, who kills it in his role. Just the whole crew. I love it.
Good. Well, despite the fact that we had a different last one, I know you won't disagree with this one. You mentioned something earlier about purposely leaving this off your list. I can't remember what your thought process behind doing
Because I think
was.
we might do it on the pod in Film Club.
That's fine. You can still call it one of your best.
Okay.
Mystery Man in my final place. So For anyone who doesn't know Mystery Men,
Which might be a few people.
yeah, switch off the pod right now and go watch it.
Go away.
It is awesome. It is about a bunch of superheroes, but they're not really superheroes. They barely have powers, if at all. They are kind of like B grade, D grade, maybe E grade superheroes, because there is this one guy, Captain Amazing, who does all of the superheroing for everyone in the town.
It's so good.
And he gets captured by Casanova Frankenstein, and they must all step up.
Casanova Frankenstein is such a good, supervillain name.
It's incredible.
Greg Kinnear is Captain Amazing. I mean, you know who's in the movie. So.
I do know who's in the movie. Well, we had a Kenan Thompson mention. We get Cal Mitchell in this.
We do.
Kenan and Cal. It's a lot of fun. It's an all-star cast. There's some really, really funny lines. I love when they meet the Sphinx and everyone is just adoring him. But basically all he says that's wise is he will say a line and then say it backwards. You must learn to master your rage, or your rage will become your master. That's what you were going to say, isn't it? Not necessarily.
So good.
And we get Angry Ben Stiller in this. And Angry Ben Stiller is my favorite kind of
Very
Ben Stiller.
frustrated Ben Stiller.
It's the same as his character in Extras. So funny when he gets really, really pissed off at people. But yeah, do yourself a favor. Go check out Mystery Man. As we said, we really want to do it on the pod. So if you go check it out and you love it, then recommend it so that we can watch it here.
Otherwise, we'll just put it on.
Yeah, true.
We sometimes do that.
We tip the scale from time to time. That's your full list?
That's my full list.
Beautiful. As always, guys, please do remember to like, subscribe, share it around, and make sure you are commenting with future ideas for films. Mystery Men. And on that note, the sun is coming up, so Mr. Boylan and I better get going, lest we turn to dust.
To dust?
To dust.
Catch you at the next film club.
Thank you, everybody, and catch you at the next film club.
Just realised I said your line. My bad.
That's all right.